Carlbo Tennis.
Hi everybody, Coach Robert Carlbo here with CarlboTennis.com. Today we're going to talk about the serve and in particular the stance. It is the foundation. Without a good solid foundation, many things that we're trying to do, such as getting the ball into the box and going with direction, are going to be problematic. It's also going to help us from a technical point once we get the direction and consistency going to add more power and spin. So let's go ahead and take a look at the stance. Okay, so if we're talking about serving, the primary objective is to just get the ball in. So I see many players that would just stand in a position like this and hit the ball this way. Of course, the ball went in, and that may solve the problem. I may even be very accurate and hit the ball to different spots. The problem with that is I'm not going to generate enough power at some point in time and spin. For example, if I were throwing a ball, and we've talked about how similar the throw is to serving and the ground strokes, if I'm trying to throw and aim at something very hard, I don't stand forward and throw it like this. You don't see baseball players standing this way and throwing. They want to throw the ball very hard, baseball pitchers. You don't see football players standing and throwing like this unless it's a short pass. If they're going to go for it, they're going to turn sideways. Once they turn sideways, they're able to throw the ball harder using their body and also to be able to throw the ball much more accurately. So for the serve, we want to make sure that we're able to serve the ball in the box accurately with the right direction. Once we get that again, we can add more spin. When it comes to spinning the ball, we're not talking about spinning, but it's much more difficult to create spin if you're standing this way. You're able to create much more using your body. We'll cover that in a different video at some other point in time. So, with regards to the stance, I'm just going to talk about it briefly, and then I'm going to show you certain things that I've noticed. We want to go ahead and have the back leg, your right leg, pointing at 90 degrees, so parallel with the baseline. And then we have the front leg or front foot pointing towards the net post. So it's a 45-degree angle. If you're standing, you could think about having some attitude. It's a good thing because your weight is on the back foot, and then you will transfer it to the front foot. This is important because if I throw the ball, I will stand here. Again, I would have my front foot turn, and then I pivot and turn, and I'm able to do that. So I want to create this particular motion. So one of the things that I've noticed with a lot of recreational tennis players is they will stand in a position like this, very similar to what the pros would do. So they get in a position like this, they toss the ball, and they move their feet, and they end up doing something like that. And the more we move the feet, the much more inconsistent our service. So we get into a position like this. We start here. We see many of the professional tennis players do this. And then we go and we move the feet, and we end up doing this. So we go here, and we end up doing this. Okay, so now, the other thing that I noticed with a lot of tennis players is they do the foot up, or they don't move their feet. They go here, and we do this motion here. Okay, so again, doing this motion here puts a lot of stress on my knee. Okay, a lot of stress on my knee. So we want to try to avoid that. Also, I'm not able to serve the ball particularly hard, and if I'm trying to serve the ball out wide, it's going to be much more difficult. Okay, it's easier to serve the ball straight if my knee is this way, but to serve it out wide, it's going to be a little bit more problematic. So we want to make sure that we are in this particular position. Sometimes I see players doing the foot up. So they start here like this, and then they will bring their right leg forward this way, like you see many of the pros do. And it's okay, but the problem is when we bring the foot up this way, we end up being very straight again. So here, we end up being very straight. So we want to make sure that if we do the foot up, we bring the foot up here, and then we turn. Okay, we don't want to bring the foot up this way because I've opened up too much and I'm not creating enough hip rotation. So I missed that part of the the stroke when I do the foot up. So we want to make sure that we have the foot up. So in terms of the toss and in terms of hitting the ball, when we have a position like this and I toss and I move my feet, the toss is going to be very inconsistent. It's going to be all over the place. So we want to really try to minimize that. And if we are keeping our feet in a stable position, it is going to be much more difficult to move around. And what will happen is we will make sure that we have the toss in the right spot. So for example, if I make a commitment to have this stance and not move my feet, if the toss is here, I can't hit it. So what generally happens if the toss is inconsistent here and I have this stance and I go here, I'll take a step and go after it. We don't want to do that. And that happens a lot when we see the back foot, your right foot, coming forward. So we have this, the toss is off, and I step forward to go after the ball. So I will never be able to hit the ball hard, with accuracy, with direction, with spin, if I'm chasing this ball all over the place. I can't do it. And we want to make sure that we have that accuracy and direction, because if you're playing doubles, you make a commitment that you're going to serve the ball down the tee. Your net person who is going to go ahead and poach the ball, for example, they know that you're going to serve the ball down the tee. You've made a commitment that you're going to serve the ball down the tee. Instead, we make a mistake. We go after the ball and the ball goes somewhere else. And this person then can't anticipate and poach and so on. The other thing we do is we go ahead and we're trying to serve to someone's backhand side, for example, or forehand, depending on the situation, to create an error. Okay, we're serving to the weaker side. And what happened is we can't do it. We can't get the ball to that spot. So because we're adjusting the feet, we're chasing the toss. So if we make a commitment to have a stable position. So I'm going to go ahead and get my ruler out here. And so just to show you this, so I have, again, my right foot pointing at 90 degrees and this one at 45. The ruler here is just so that I have this line here like this. Okay, so just like this. Okay, so this should be pointing straight forward. So I have this, I go up, I pivot and turn, and I hit the ball. So I may have this commitment. I don't want my foot back here if I'm serving straight because it puts stress on my knee. I want to make sure, and if I do this here, I will end up having to lose my balance. So I need to make sure that my foot has this line. So I'm going to move the ruler so that we get that out of the way. I'm sure you understand what I'm referring to. So I'm trying to hit the ball straight. I have a line here. I go up and I can hit the ball fairly straight. So one more time. There. Okay, so I want to go ahead. I'm going to hit the ball towards the middle. Okay? So I have this accurate line here, up and there. Okay. So we want to go ahead and make sure that we have that straight line because we have a better chance of hitting the ball to our direction. So a couple of things that we can do to make sure this happens is to get a couple of tennis rackets or some objects, and I'm going to take this racket and put it onto my front foot. So the reason I'm putting it here is that I can't move it, okay? And then this one here I'm going to put over here, and it makes it so that now if the toss is off, I'm not able to go after it and hit the ball. So I'm committed. So now I'm forced to toss the ball into a better spot. And when I'm able to do that, I'm able to hit the ball much more accurately. I can focus on hitting the ball much more accurately and with direction. Eventually we'll talk about rotating the hips. I'm able to generate more power by rotating the hips. So we want to go ahead and make sure that we have the racket and practice that to make sure we are able to have an accurate serve. I'm going to make some progressions here. I'm going to come up forward here so we're a little bit closer. We want to start always by just having it right. So by minimizing the court, we go closer to the net, practice hitting the ball into the spot, straightforward. Doesn't matter there that I hit the ball in the net. I just want to go ahead and make sure that I'm hitting the ball straight. Once I get that and I can hit the ball straight, I move back a little bit. And as you saw just a few minutes ago when I was serving here, showing the direction here, I am back here, and I'm able to serve the ball. Not made a mistake there. Serve the ball straight. Doesn't matter if the ball goes out, because right now we're looking at hitting the ball straight. So we go again, here, and straight. Okay? Now, in order to hit the ball into different directions, I'm going to have to change my feet a little bit. Okay? So I get into a position, and now I'm going to have this ruler pointing towards the side. So before it was straight, now I'm going to serve the ball out wide. So if I'm standing here, I'm going to have this ball serving out wide. If I make a slight direction here, the ball is going to go more to the middle. Most people aren't going to notice that slight difference. If I serve on this side over here, okay, to the deuce side here, have this line, again pointing, I'll use the racket here, pointing to that side versus going right here more to the left, more towards the tee. So I make that slight adjustment, and once I make that slight adjustment, I'm able to have more success hitting the ball out wide without necessarily creating spin. So once I'm able to get all of these together, then I can go ahead and work on adding power, etc. So that one, I was able to hit the ball out wide where I wanted it to go. And I would do the same thing if I were serving onto the add side. Get onto this side, pointing that line, making sure that I'm serving the ball out wide. Okay, so we go here. There we go. So I'm able to hit the ball there. This is the foundation. I want you all to understand that this is the foundation. We want to make sure that we do the fundamentals absolutely well. Okay, we want to be spot on with the fundamentals. Once we get this, we can go ahead and do what the pros do. So I'm going to just briefly talk about the jump. So what we'll notice is the pros will come, they will bend their knees, and then they will jump, load, and go up. And once they land, you will notice that my front foot, my left foot, will be pointing in the direction of where the ball was. Okay? So they come here, they go ahead up in the air. That allows that foot to turn. So if the foot doesn't come off the ground and we're starting here, we're going to put stress on the knee and we'll lose a lot of our accuracy. Some of the pros will then go ahead and do a foot up. This motion here, they get into this position, up and turn. We just want to make sure that we don't go ahead and get the foot too much forward, because I open up my hips too much, and then I'll be serving more in this direction. We want to go ahead to here, and then again, that foot coming forward. But when we add the foot up or jump, we're adding another degree of difficulty. We want to make sure that we can consistently get the toss in the right spot with this proper stance, so that we are able to go ahead and serve the ball with much more accuracy and power. And once we get this stance, we can serve the ball and we can go ahead and have some success getting the ball straight down the line. So I hope you enjoyed this video on the stance. We'll be doing other videos on other topics. And if you enjoyed it, please go ahead and subscribe. Thank you very much, and we'll be in touch.
For more information on Carlbo Tennis, visit www.carlbotennis.com. If you wish to email Coach Robert, please do so at robert@carlbotennis.com, or visit his Facebook page at www.facebook.com/Carlbo Tennis. Tennis for the people.